And hello and good morning. Good schmorgens, Mr. Morgans, as they say in radio. I'm David Bowles, and this is Bowles.tv. Excuse me, BOLES. .television. Coming to you live and in person Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. or thereabouts. Well, it was a wild night overnight. 60 degrees, great sleeping weather, and I missed it all. Yes, the air conditioning was on. I feel a little bit foolish. I guess I have to start checking the overnight weather forecast because yesterday was 85. Who knew it would be 60 overnight? It is now currently 71 and partly cloudy skies in Jersey City. A high expected today of 77 degrees, which is pretty good. I don't think it'll get too hot, but who knows? Hey, speaking of hot, as you know, I'm trying to get back into games playing, not gaming. Now, people call it gaming, but if you really look up the definition of gaming, gaming is gambling. Now, you can say gamering, but somebody's trademarked that, so you can't do that. So you just call it playing games. But I've learned that to play games like it appears Grand Theft Auto, or even my Stray Cat game, which I'm stuck on. I cannot get away from these demons that are attacking my cat. It's been about 2 weeks. I found a walkthrough, though, which takes you through everything you have to do, which I really love. But I realized that you need to have some kind of controller, because using your mouse, even though it's a wonderful mouse, and using your keyboard, which is a wonderful, outstanding keyboard that we've shared here many times. Very heavy, 50-pound keyboard. They don't play games well. Now, 20 years ago, that's all you could do is play games with your mouse and your keyboard. So now you have to have something like this. Did a little bit of research. And since I'm on a Windows machine, it's made sense to get this. I don't have an Xbox, I don't have a PS4, I don't know what anything is. But this is the Xbox controller, version 2, Series 2, and the 2, I guess, means that it has Bluetooth. Then it has these little strange paddles on the other side. I don't really even know what to do with it. And it has interchangeable things that you can put here. Change this for this, swap them out. It's all in the box. Comes with a battery, too. You can plug it right in and use the battery. So I've been experimenting with that, and it was a disaster yesterday. Didn't really work. My cat game just froze up. And as I'm hitting what appears to be the B button to run, this was somehow, for some reason, in Windows 11, taking 1,000 screenshots every time I hit the button. So my cat is dying, these things are eating my cat, and I cannot, the walkthrough says you run and jump until you can run and jump no longer. And I tried to jump. I meant to jump, but there was no jumping allowed because I died. I was eaten by the things. And this is the second time I had to be eaten by these things. And it doesn't work well for a keyboard, so I put down my new controller. And I thought you could set up these controllers so it would do things in the game, but it doesn't even want to do anything in the game. So my cat keeps dying and dying, and so I said, well, I'll put down the controller, I'll do it with my keyboard. And to shake off these demons that are attacking your cat, you have to hit the left Alt key repeatedly. Well, you can't hit the left Alt key and move your direction keys because they're on opposite sides of the keyboard when you're trying to use your mouse to move your cat. It was a terrible experience. I don't know what to say. So I understand, like when you play driving games, that this is great because these things make turning corners easy, but I don't know. I've used it for about 11 minutes and I've already had it. That's one of the hallmarks or embarrassments of getting older. You just don't want the hassle of anything. So since we were talking about it, I have to bring it up. This is the walkthrough that I found for the cat. Now, if you don't want to know anything, don't read it. But sometimes you get stuck, you don't know what to do. And these walkthroughs are very sophisticated now. They have videos, which I don't want to watch. But they have images. Do this, do this, do this, do this. Here's that, here's that, here's that, here's this, do this, do that. I'm not great at solving puzzles, remember, and all these games are puzzles. So sometimes you need a little help. But I haven't needed any help until yesterday. So I have my friend that's on my back, B12, I think is his name. Doesn't help very much, but does have a flashlight. This is where I'm getting stuck. I have to jump into this bucket, hit the A button, and then you travel down. So I turned off the Xbox overlay, which I think is what's causing all these screenshot problems. It's recording everything I do and taking a screenshot every time I hit a button. I don't want any of that. I just want to get out of the bucket so I don't get eaten by these demons. And then then you're supposed to, I guess, jump up here once you get there. And then these demons that eat your cat can't get you. I don't know. After about 10 times, I finally found this, and it didn't really help me. So I gave up and retired for the evening. So, hey, what else is going on in the world? Well, we have, as you know, what? Oh, there's Gordon. I have to scroll so I see my Gordon. Malka did eventually get Stray on the PS4. Fabulous. I'm so happy for her. That is wonderful. And it does seem like if I had a PS4 controller, I don't know if that works with Windows or not, that it's easier to use the controller in the game. Right now, it has 100 buttons, and right now it seems like you only use 2 buttons. But it's a wonderful game. And people say if you sit down and really play it, you can finish the game in about 10 hours, which I would love to do, but I'm completely stuck, and I don't know how to get out of it. If only Malka lived closer, she could come over and take over and get me out of the problem. So, here we go. Oh. We have a report from the field from Commissioner Gordon. Windows report. How to connect a PS4 controller to Windows. Yay, in order to connect a PS4 to Windows 10, you'll have to rely on, third-party solutions. But the problem itself isn't as hard as you might think. Yeah, I've heard that before. Hey, Windows 11, it's so wonderful. In order to connect a PS4 controller to Windows, you need to do the following. DS4 Windows. After you download the zip file. Now, we don't even know if this works with Windows 11, because they're completely different things. Install the driver and the meow meow. Well, that's good to have. The reason I got the Xbox is because it was highly rated. Everybody says number 1, especially if you want to use it on Windows. And maybe I'm going to have to make a switch. Oh my gosh, input mapper. Oh boy, that's a lot of work. I'm already tired. And then the comments, hey, my PS4 controller is connected already, but I can't be recognized. Oh, the article is out of date. Windows 10 now natively supports the DS4 controller when connected with UPS cable. It installs it as a generic wireless controller, and all analog buttons work great. Well, that's good. I don't want a wire, though. I don't know if the PS4 is Bluetooth or not. So as you know, we have MooBot as our new bot, and it's very powerful, does many different interesting things. One of which is auto-hosting, which means you can, when you're on Twitch, you can host other Twitch channels on your stream when you are not online. And I guess it's supposed to help your viewership, and it creates good feelings. And since it's part of the MooBot thing, I said, well, I'll give it a try. Because we're really only on about 2 hours a day, an hour a day on the weekends, and most of these streamers, they go for like 8, 9, 10 hours at a time. I don't know how they do it. I mean, they're playing a game. I guess that helps. And I may have to get in game playing in order to make all of this work. But with MooBot, you can go in and say, hey, auto host these channels. So I've been putting in channels to try to cover, it's very challenging, 24 hours of content. So that when we're offline, there's something on our channel that's being hosted. And I found one channel that's the computer chess channel that's on for 23 hours a day, because I guess you get cut off at 24 hours by Twitch. So it streams for 23 hours and something. So that's always on, which is a great backup. Another great backup I have unfortunately learned is XQC, because he is on 20 hours a day, especially overnight. I'm having trouble covering my overnight hours from like midnight to 6 a.m. This time of day, there's a lot of streaming. In the afternoon, there's a lot of streaming. So you can tell it to just, MooBot, to just stream a channel, stream the channel with the least amount of viewers, which I really like. But see, the people I'm auto-hosting now have thousands and millions of viewers because they're very popular and they know how to stream. They're pros. Well, that's what you kind of want on your stream, because they know what they're doing. They're there for a long time. You can tell it to randomly select channels to auto-host, or you can tell it to just go in the order you have set to host. And if they're not online, then they're not online. So I have set our auto-host to be 15 minutes, which is very interesting. So whatever channels are on when we're off, the other channels are there for 15 minutes, and then it gets swapped out for another channel. It's very interesting and very intensive. But we're always looking for interesting Twitch channels to auto-host. If you have any suggestions, you can go into our Discord server and put them in questions and answers, and we'll check them out. Now, we like to have streams that are sort of like this stream. There isn't any stream that's like this stream. But right now we're concentrating just like on chess channels, because there's not a lot of potty mouthing there, and on some Grand Theft Auto stuff. And there is potty mouthing there, but you usually get a warning saying, look, there's potty mouthing on this channel. Do you want to watch or not? And then you click through, and then if you're agreeing to potty mouthing, okay. But when I added XQC this morning, because there was nothing else on for some reason, he was doing his Gamba bit, which we've talked about extensively here, which is so unfortunate and so disappointing, because he has a gambling problem. Gambling problems running his family. Last year, I think 6 months ago, he lost $1.3 million in a day gambling his money. And then now he gambles, and these gambling companies pay him to gamble on stream and offer his viewers and loyal followers, he has 11 million of them, codes to gamble on these websites. And the grotesque part of it all is those codes get used, and any money that is won, not by the participant, but by the gambling casino online, XQC gets a cut, as I understand it. He gets a cut of the losses of people who have faithfully watched his stream and then taken his code to gamble online. But if we find others who are online overnight, we can remove XQC from our auto-hosting. But he's popular, so people like him. We'll see if this works or not. I have no idea if it will. We are hoping that it will work. Now, hey, if you're a surviving member of the audience of this live stream, you know we have commands. Exclamation point commands. Our most famous command right now is exclamation point DAD. Enter. Hey! Dad joke. Hey! Why did the burglar hang his mugshot on the wall? To prove that he was framed. Fun. And it appears that these are being pulled from some website. So there are a lot of them, I guess. So maybe there's not like a file. It's a website which is constantly being updated. Hey, I finally bought the limited edition thesaurus that I've always wanted. When I opened it, all the pages were blank. I have no words to describe how angry I am. Wow, now that's very complicated, but funny. I don't know what the hallmark of a dad joke is. Is it because it makes you groan, or it makes you want to say, "Oh, Dad"? Because as Gordon has said, before he was a dad, he was telling dad jokes, which seems illegal on some level. So here's one that I created this morning out of great inspiration and a little bit of disgust with myself. It is !HEY, which in certain terms will be used in emergency circumstances and often in fits and blazes of glory. Hey, Old Bean, Bowls TV, we cannot either see or hear part of your stream, or maybe even both. Stop napping, and please pay attention to this message, and fix your stream! ! Hey, we thank you. Hey, don't make us send this more than once because we will. We thank you even more. P.S. Don't make us come over there. Bye. And Jana Marie pops in. The real live Jana Marie saying, hey, hey. Hey, Jana Marie. Hey. Hey, bye. I think that was the chant in high school. So I have made this announcement to have some color to it. So when I'm off on a rant and talking about my new friend, Lil Michaela, and you can't see her, you can type ! HEY as often as you need to until I see it, and then I respond and I actually turn on the browser so you can see Lil Michaela. And also in the past, there have been instances where I have done entire half-hour beginnings of the show without realizing my microphone was not on. Now, that was early in the genesis of this show, which I guess has been going on now for about 9 months, according to all of our reporting. And when I realized I did that, I stopped the stream, deleted it, and started all over again. Now, the problem is, in deleting that, there was comedy gold in those first 30 minutes of the show. But nobody heard it. And I couldn't remember exactly what I said. So I tried to recreate it, going against the old adage, you cannot replay the same moment, and I did prove it. I was unfunny, probably a little bit boring, but luckily no one was watching. But it's on video on demand. So these are our commands, and we have lots of. We have NFT command that you often see here. We have a Jana command, which is always fun when she's here or not. So these things are powerful. And I like that I finally created a way that if I'm not paying attention and I'm off on a rant, I will hopefully eventually see that, because it's flashing at me, it has color on it, and it should grab my attention even though if I'm in the middle of a screaming fit of rage. And on that moment, hey, bye. We're taking a very brief blood pressure break to return in one moment. And we are back from break. I'm David Bowles, and this is Bowles TV. BOLES.television. Coming to you live Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern. Well, it's now 72 degrees and partly sunny skies, and I have the windows open, and I have a small fan over here in the corner. You can see my cat. And it's blowing gently right into my eye. So this eye is getting very dry. This eye is fine. So if you see me squinting, that's what's going on. So there is a really interesting story that has been bubbling, and I would say boiling, for a couple of weeks at least. It's about privilege and about politics. And now we're going to discuss it live. So the other day, a woman named Amy DeGeese ran over a delivery driver. And she comes from a very powerful, politically connected family in Jersey City. And she is a council member. And after she hit the guy on his bicycle, she kept driving and didn't stop. Okay? And people are outraged. How can this be? Why isn't she being held accountable? What's going to be done about this? And the answer is, so far, not a lot. There she is, Amy, Jersey City Councilwoman in 2019. Oh, there's Jenna Marie. I would be outraged too. It's a terrible, awful story, but really fascinating. Here she is in 2019, a body camera, police officer body camera, trying to convince a Hoboken police officer not to tow her car. Do you know who I am? Jersey City residents are expected to turn out in large numbers to a city council meeting Wednesday night, tonight, to call for Councilwoman Amy DeGeese to resign. I don't think she's going to go. Almost a month since DeGeese was charged in a hit-and-run accident that caused minor injuries to a bicyclist. A majority of her fellow council members and Mayor Steve Fulop have criticized her for not stopping after she hit the cyclist. But Fulop and the majority have not called for her to resign because they're terrified about the rest of her family. And I guess she also lives in a housing complex where you're income limited. If I'm remembering right, to like $70,000 a year or under, and she and her husband or partner or something make north of $200,000. Why are they living there? They have to move. They've called on her to move, and she's not doing anything. Meanwhile, she's faced nonstop calls on social media from community activists, from more than 6,000 individuals who have signed a petition, and from newspaper editorial boards that she needs to go. Tweets embedded below reflect some of the Republic's response to that incident. I want to highlight the amazing community members who were quick to check on the cyclist and give aid while our elected city councilwoman Amy fled the scene. Steve Fulop deserves a government as good as its people. That does not include Amy DeGeese. And let's see. There he got hit. And she kept going and did not stop. All right, now I'm going to show it one more time because I was talking over the video and the closed captions are in the way. So this is Amy smashing into the bicyclist, the Uber delivery guy, knocks him over. She keeps going. And then people who saw what happened come over and offer him a seat and ask if he's okay. So I'm going to wait for the captions to clear. And then I'm going to play this again for the people in the back row. And Commissioner Gordon says, good gravy. That was heartless. Eesh. Hard to watch. And the guy luckily doesn't have a lot of injuries. But she didn't stop. People figured out who she was. She didn't apologize. She stayed absolutely quiet. It's really shocking. And every day something else horrible unfolds about her. This is an interview that they're doing. I don't want to care about the interview. But they have some really good social media stuff in here. Now let's see what this says. I'll be quiet so the captions will disappear. I'm not sure what this is about. I don't know if it has sound or not. If it has sound, I won't play it.
I'm running for council with Mayor Fulop and his entire team to make sure that progress benefits everyone. No one is left behind.
I'll work to expand work-based learning programs, build more affordable workforce housing, help our small businesses succeed, keep our streets safe and clean. I'm asking for your vote for the entire Team Fulop ticket, including me, Jersey City's biggest fan. Thank you so much.
Now that's delicious. I'll play this again. This is her campaign. This is her campaign commercial. We can only laugh because no one was permanently injured in this accident. This is her campaign commercial to get elected. Updated and intercut with her behavior and headlines from the news. And the audio's fine, I think, because it's her voice and it's an advertisement. But if I get cut, we get cut. This one I don't care about because it's very important and funny.
I'm running for council with Mayor Fulop and his entire team to make sure that progress benefits everyone. No one is left behind.
I'll work to expand work-based learning programs, build more affordable workforce housing, help our small businesses succeed, keep our streets safe and clean. I'm asking for your vote for the entire Team Fulop ticket, including me, Jersey City's biggest fan. Thank you so much.
And I forgot that they also have discovered that she owes an animal hospital $3,000. And as people say, if I didn't pay my vet a $3,000 bill, I would be sued. I would be ashamed and gone after in court. But her, the vet, it's Amy. Next Wednesday, sign up to speak at Jersey City Council meeting to make it clear that Amy has got to go. You have to sign up in advance, though. Choose public hearing only, no need for an ordinance number. See, they're telling you what to do, how to get out there, and make yourself heard. I've been laughing too much. Now, remember we talked about the Garbage Pail Kids? This looks exactly like that. A Jersey City artist has officially outdone the Hat and Patches for best artwork inspired by Jersey City politics. I pass the mantle to you, Kirk Howley. Garbage politician. Amy DeGeesh. Running over the Uber driver. That's from a week ago. I love the Garbage Pail Kids. Another one. Powerful resign DeGeesh letter. If Amy DeGeesh refuses to step down, the council member should seek to have her removed. Not doing so is saying that your council members condone her behavior and that you too would take some action and leave the scene. And all of this pressure has been building up on her, and so far, none of it has touched her. Nothing has happened to her. My question to Murphy, Phil Murphy, the governor of New Jersey, is when is he going to go public and tell the Democrat councilwoman that struck the cyclist to resign? Jersey Journal's Open Public Records Act request shows DeGeesh had a slew of license suspensions, 11 in total. From the article seems mostly scofflaw failure to appear. There she is, hitting the Uber driver. This is urban, old-school politics. Powerful family. You gonna touch her? I'll touch you back. Amy DeGeesh's brazen disregard for safety is dangerous on his own. Appreciate Gary for Jersey City, linking to other bad behavior of Hudson County politics. Every day that DeGeesh stays in office affirms how low the bar stands for holding public office in Hudson County. Whew. So what will happen? Is it going to be interesting? Try to get out of getting her her car towed in Hoboken. Do you know who I am? Owes $3,000 to the veterinarian. Lives in subsidized housing as a councilwoman for Jersey City. And I guess that that they're trying to prosecute her, and they're trying to move the prosecution from Hudson County, where her family is very powerful, to Essex County. Now, will that happen? I don't know. Hey, speaking of politics, have you heard about Rudy Giuliani? He's nervous about being targeted in the Georgia election probe and just wants to die a free man. A former aide says. Now, Rudy's a very interesting guy. Big hero after 9/11. Ruined every good thing he ever did in his life with January 6th. And for right now, we are not talking about what I call the Borat movie, where he was on the bed expecting to get some kind of favors from a young woman. That was highly disgusting. But I guess he's done now worse things to the entire United States of America. Now, remember, Rudy wanted Trump to pay all of his bills because he did all the dirty work for Trump, and Trump told him to go pound sand publicly. And then Rudy said, well, if he's going to throw me under the bus, I have a lot of insurance, as he said, to make sure that all my bills are paid. So it looks like the rumblings you're hearing is that Rudy maybe, just maybe, because of what's happening in Georgia, might just turn on Trump. Now, wouldn't that be interesting? Oh, boy. Rudy Giuliani was told, hey, you're a target. That's a bad thing. When you're a target, that means you're going to be prosecuted when you're a target. That's pretty much what it means. If you're under investigation, we want you to cooperate. Lindsey Graham, under investigation, we're seeking information. He is not a target, Lindsey Graham. But Rudy is. He's a target of Georgia's criminal investigation into election interference. A former aide told CNN that Giuliani is nervous about the probe because he knows he lied. Ken Friedman, who served as Giuliani's press secretary, said Giuliani just wants to die a free man. Which sort of tells you I'm flipping. I'm not doing one day for Donald Trump. He's making me pay my own legal expenses. So forget that guy. I think online they call him the TFG. Some people make a small T and a big R and spell rump, T-rump. But TFG is pretty good, meaning that effing guy. Which is not as insulting as, the orange-faced paper man and all these other terrible things they call him online. TFG seems to be the code phrase that most people like. Rudy Giuliani is nervous. The former New York City mayor and personal attorney to Donald J. Trump was told on Monday, hey, you're a target of the criminal probe in Fulton County, Georgia, regarding efforts to overturn the 2020 presidential election. Ken Friedman knows he lied to the investigators. He knows how the Department of Justice works. Rudy Giuliani knows how the FBI works. And it's true. If you're in trouble with a government, and you're a private citizen, and that government can be, well, Amy DeGeese, she doesn't count. But if you're in trouble with a state government, a local government, the police department, you're going to have a hard time. Because the government is a machine. It is a machine that works against you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And you as a private citizen are in big trouble. Because if you have to pay someone to represent you, it's one person, not an army of thousands of people, one person, 2 or 3 people if you can afford it, working in your defense. Maybe what? At maximum 8 hours a day? Not 1,000 people working 24 hours a day against you to prosecute you. Not very balanced. Rudy knows these are meticulous investigations, 24 hours a day. He knows that he concocted this scheme. Rudy knows he lied for his client, the President of the United States. And he knows that we all know. Oof. I think at this point in his life, his goal is to die a free man. That is a powerful way to put pressure on somebody. Look, tell us what you know, be honest, or we're going to prosecute you. But you're not our real target, if you know what I mean. So there you go. Very harrowing stuff coming up for our good friend Rudy Giuliani, who has completely ruined every good piece of good spirit he has ever done. And for what? As they say in Fargo, for a little bit of money. I don't know what he was thinking. What if this had worked and Trump somehow overthrew the government and became king for life, which is what he wanted? Rudy Giuliani is going to stand there next to him holding his hand? I think so. Now we're taking our very next blood pressure break. Returning in a moment. And we are back from break. I'm David Bowles. This is Bowles.tv, BOLES.television. Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern. And of course, the beautiful January Sweetheart. Saturday and Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern. In American Sign Language and text, talking about lots of fun and intelligent things. It's so interesting. When I hit this to come back from break, my CPU usage spikes at 98%. Just from that little tiny scene change. I find that very weird. Now we're at 7%. We're usually around 1. Well, this is interesting. So 1% is CPU for the streaming software, but for the entire computer, it's at 7%, which is still astonishingly low and delightful because we're doing captioning. We have 100 windows open, as is this one. So, hey, now here we go. I'm very interested in this Ukraine war. We have our friend Igba in Russia, who is on the wrong side of the war but can't help it. He's sort of stuck. We have our good friend Alexander, our brother Karamazov, stuck in Ukraine, who sends us videos and photos when he can. But the thing that I just can't get my head around is how is the world, how are we getting out of this? Because Putin cannot be allowed to keep 1 inch of Ukraine. And Putin is not going to willingly give back to what he already has. So how will this end? Will it ever end? As they say on television, winter is coming. 2 months, everything's going to get locked down and frozen. And then what? And Ukrainians are supposed to be doing some big counterattack yesterday, but it didn't go very well. So this popped up yesterday from Tom Nichols of The Atlantic. Tom is one of my favorite writers. He's just super brilliant and super interesting, and he takes up this difficult task. What's happening with the war? So this is what Tom has to say. The war against democracy, as I've said many times, is being fought on multiple fronts around the world. And even they say we are not a democracy. And there's some GOP people say we are not a democracy in the USA. We are a republic. Different rules. What? And nowhere with more ferocity than in Ukraine. The former National Security Council staffer Alex Vindman is in Ukraine today. I saw him on the news offering very interesting strategic advice. And he doesn't seem to be very high on the success of Ukraine. He seems very resigned and morbid about it all. He said this morning that he's worried about the world developing Ukraine fatigue, which I think is sort of a thing. People get tired of hearing the same thing. Oh, poor Ukraine. Oh, why can't they take care of themselves? Oh, why do we have to help them? Well, Tom says the Russian invasion of Ukraine isn't merely a war in which two sides have something in dispute and are using military force to get their way. The Prussian high priest of military thought, Karl von Clausewitz, described war as an act of force to compel our enemy to do our will. But the Russian attack isn't one of Clausewitz's 19th century conflicts. The attempt to destroy Ukraine is more like the Nazi campaigns of conquest in World War II. Interesting. Who's the Nazi? You're the Nazi. No, I'm not the Nazi. You're the Nazi. Right? That's the game Putin's playing. Or, if you'd like a more futuristic analogy, it is like the war waged against Earth by aliens in the classic 1996 movie Independence Day. When the American president tries to surrender to the invaders and asks them what they want humans to do to secure a truce, the aliens answer with one word: die. Wasn't that a Will Smith movie? Hey, it's not a perfect analogy. Vladimir Putin, in the first weeks of the war, would have accepted a tidy and rapid surrender. Okay, you win, Ukraine yours. Instead, his initial goals did not include obliterating Ukrainian cities and civilians, because he long ago convinced himself that Ukrainians are indistinguishable from Russians. He may have imagined that after a quick strike against Kyiv, Ukrainian President Zelensky would flee or be killed by his own military, and that Ukrainian children would carpet the streets with flowers to welcome the conquering Russians. I think that analysis is right on. It's exactly, he thought he'd walk in, hey, welcome the conquerors. But hey, instead, Ukraine, with Western help, fought back and handed the Russian military one humiliating defeat after another. The Russian version of shock and awe turned into shock and dismay in Moscow, and Putin, whose vanity and ego are now deeply invested in the Ukraine war, changed Russian war aims from quick conquest to a campaign of death and destruction, as he did in Syria, as punishment for Ukrainian insolence. It's tough. So Tom says there are three things that we have to remember. 1, the Russians are not interested in a settlement. I would say 1A, neither are the Ukrainians. 2, the Russians are running out of men and material, and the war is getting closer to the lives of people in Russia who thought it would never touch them. That's a good thing. 3rd, Ukrainians are taking terrible losses. We see that every day from Alexander's reports. But they could outlast the Russians with some Western help. The first point, that the Russians are not interested in a settlement, is key to understanding why the U.S. and its Western partners have to commit to war with money and material support for the long haul. Putin is almost 70 years old, and that is not young, especially by Russian standards. But the war will last as long as he is alive. His aims, no matter what he says in public, will always be the maximum goal of subjugating all of Ukraine. So right there, what are you going to do? How do you handle that? Unless he's gone in some way, through removal or death or something, he's not stopping. Second point, Putin thought he could pull off a quick victory while Russians, especially in big cities like Moscow and Leningrad, St. Petersburg, went about their regular lives. But the Russian military has proved to be far more fragile than Western experts predicted. After losing some of his best forces, Putin is now fighting the war with more kids from the Gublinka, the Russian boondocks, many of them ethnic non-Russians. And as we reported last week, there are other reports that Putin is trying to recruit in jails by offering Russian prisoners a commutation in exchange for fighting in Ukraine. Which turns out that he's not doing that. He's saying, I'll pay you $3,500 a month. I'll commute your sentence. You go for training for 2 weeks. And then after 6 months of service, you can go home. And there are prisoners taking that deal. However, there's never $3,500. There's no payment made to the family when the soldier goes missing, prisoner goes missing. There's 2 weeks of training, and then the transfer, they can't find the people. There's no record of them being moved anywhere. The heinous acts and likely war crimes we've already seen in Ukraine will seem like a warm-up if the Russian High Command lets a bunch of convicted criminals in army uniforms loose on the battlefield with rifles and grenades. Oof. Finally, the war is now a slog and will remain one America and other nations have for months been carefully threading a needle, providing aid to Ukraine but resisting moves such as no-fly zones that could provoke a direct confrontation between Moscow and the West. The long term favors the Ukrainians. I have not heard that before. 40 million people who are fighting for their existence as a nation. The Russians are heedlessly throwing bodies and weapons into the fight, making it a foot race between Western practice on the Ukrainian side versus Putin's terrible burn rate of killed in action and equipment. As Admiral James Stavridis told me in an email earlier today, I would rather have Zelensky's hand of cards than Putin's. Very interesting. In the near future, however, the Russians can still bring crushing amounts of power to bear on Ukraine. They want to claim Ukrainian territory, even if they have to reduce cities to piles of rubble and corpses before they plant their boots on them. So that is some very interesting analysis from Tom Nichols on The Atlantic. Not a lot of hope out there. A lot of dismay. And, who can blame them? Now, one of the fun things about being a book publisher and having a big blog and having a live stream and having a podcast is you get a lot of email from PR people. Hey, do you want to talk about this? Hey, can I send you this? And usually I would, take things for review. But now everybody wants to send you something for review. And let's say it's a $10 something. I get a lot of vegan product stuff. So, can we send you this for review for you? And it's like $10, $30. Okay. Beware of what you get for free. Because it used to be they'd send you something, and if you just happened to mention it on social media, they were thrilled. Or if they sent you something that was, relatively expensive, they didn't have to return, and you wrote a blog article about it, they were happy, they were excited. Not anymore. Now these PR firms, they want everything. Oh, we're going to send you this vegan lip balm. We want it on your live stream with links. We want you to write a blog article about it, at least 10 pages long. I'm being a little facetious, but you're getting the point. We want it posted to all of your social media with links. And we need it by Friday. So whereas I used to get a lot of stuff to review and talk about and share, now I try not to. Because the expectation is wildly outpacing the reality of the situation. And the reality of the situation is, hey, you need me more than I need you. Which is a terrible thing to say. If there's something I really want to review, I'll just go out and get it and talk about it. And I don't feel like I have to be nice about it. I can be honest about it. I can share my thoughts and my prayers. I can share my thoughts and my criticisms and my loves and my desires without feeling like I owe you something because you're a PR person. But the worst is now, PR, do this, and do review and access to all this. And by the way, it's going to cost you $25. Now, those PR people I don't understand. Now, I often get requests, for book reviews, which are great, but they usually then want something to put on the cover, or they want to be able to quote you, or it's a never-ending circle of, hey, do you think you could? I understand that's the game. I understand that I'm old and cranky now. I don't want to have to put up with stuff I don't want to do if I don't have to do it. Like standing in a line. If you want to send me your book, and if I like it, I'll talk about it, give you a little promo. Okay, but that's it. Done. I'm not writing a review. I'm not posting to multiple places about what I thought of your book. And I also tell them, look, I don't want to kill anybody, especially authors. I have great respect for authors. And sometimes you read something and it's a book and it's not your thing and you don't like it. I don't want to talk about it. So I try to tell them, look, if you send it to me and I'm not crazy about it, I don't think you want me out there not bad-mouthing your book, but that's how it comes across, but reviewing your book or whatever it is negatively. But if you want that, oh, of course you want your honest review. No, they don't. They only want your, this is the best book I've ever read in my life. This is the most delicious vegan lip balm I've ever tasted. So there's no pleasing these PR people anymore. They are hungry for coverage, but coverage that they want and not what you feel is appropriate to provide. But every once in a while you get like a book and they say, hey, if you want to talk about this, talk about this. If you don't, if you don't. But if you want to talk about it, here's a link to a rough copy of the book. And it has these ugly watermarks all over it for press use only. And so I say, okay, I'm going to take a look at it. So this is an interesting book about Chris Nolan that was sent to me yesterday. Christopher Nolan, the iconic filmmaker and his work. Okay, interesting. Love Chris Nolan. Love Tenet. One of my favorite movies of all time. Christopher Nolan, the iconic filmmaker and his films by Ian Nathan. Now this is a PDF file. So as you can see, it's unwieldy and very difficult to share online, especially with this watermark. But I understand why the watermark's there. But it doesn't matter for us because we're just going to take a look at it. I haven't read this. I've read pieces of it, bits of it. I don't know if it's good or bad. I'm not saying. You can decide. But here's the table of contents. Hybrid kid, Through the Looking Glass, The Intimidation Game. And here it's basically about the movies. Batman, The Prestige, which I loved. That was, a lot of people don't get the ending of that movie. But the ending of that movie is really super terrifying. He kills himself and stores himself after each performance. The Dark Knight, Inception, another fantastic movie. Interstellar, wonderful movie. Dunkirk, yes. Oppenheimer and Tenet, holy yes. So I'm very interested to see what Chris has to say and what he's doing. And this is the book. And it's filled with lots of images and photographs. So like the left side of the book is all kinds of text. And here's Chris behind the IMAX camera for what appears to be Tenet. Young Chris Nolan. Action sequences with Chris Nolan. Blade Runner. Chris Nolan. So it's really well put together. It's pretty much a picture book, which I completely enjoy. A lot of text. Insight. Love that movie. Terrifying movie. Losing your mind. Hey, it's Mr. Gordon, checking in from Florida. I saw a joke comic. On one side, it had Marvel movies and the director saying, lights, camera, action. And on the other side, DC movies and the person saying, camera, action. Terrifically hilarious, because these DC movies are just terrible. You cannot see anything. And you know, Ebert and Siskel, Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert. Way back when they were doing At the Movies on PBS. Almost every show, they would together, and they never agreed on anything, really. But the one thing they agreed on is these ridiculous movie makers who think that they are auteurs, and that means, in translating the story to film, that the whole thing has to be dark. You can't see what's happening on screen. And both of them, especially Ebert, would just rail with fury about the ridiculousness of having people go to a movie that you cannot see on screen. And it happens a lot. Even if you watch the Matrix movies, they're very dark and they all have a green tint, which is really ugly and really annoying. And it's obviously put there on purpose to set a mood and a theme in the Matrix, so everything's green. I don't know, but it doesn't feel organic. And the latest Batman, the Batman movie, you couldn't see a thing. Raining the whole time. It really ruins the experience. Matrix, yeah. Of the photographs. So let's skip. Oh, did I skip too far? Okay, there's a Batman. The Batman. I love the photographs. It's a beautiful big picture book. Time and memory, those Nolan fascinations all play their part. The ghosts of dead parents, dead loves, and dead villains feel the cold air of the winter-gripped city. Yeah, Chris Nolan pretty much today gets whatever he wants whenever he wants it. And I say, buddy, get more. Because a genius like that deserves... Oh, this was a great movie, Interstellar. Really interesting. About time and memory and loss and perception. Dunkirk. Oh, fabulous. So he's a young guy. He has, I think, a lot more movies in him. Here's my favorite movie, Tenet. With this guy, who was the Batman, terrible, but he had COVID during filming. But in Tenet, terrific. Kenneth Branagh, fabulous. Played a terrible, horrible bad guy and played him brilliantly. Yeah, Tenet's a movie that you just watch and watch and watch and say, what happened? Oh, and there's a whole Reddit group dedicated to Tenet, with theories and people who've watched it for the first time and trying to figure out what happened, and even people who've watched it 10 times and found something new. You'd think that you'd think the Reddit would be dead by now, but it's not. It's completely alive, and dare I say, even thriving, sir. And the conversation is always interesting and always lively. And when people get into it and they have to explain what's really going on, it does bend your mind a little bit. The Oppenheimer movie, I don't know. That seems like something that he has to do. I don't know why. It doesn't feel organic to me. But who am I? What do I know? I'm just here with you live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern. And now it's time for another infamous blood pressure break. Returning in a moment. And we are back from break. I'm David Bowles here on Bowles.tv. BOLES.tv. We are here with you live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern during the week. And hey, we have a new exclamation point command, which is exclamation point hey, that anyone can use when something is amiss with the stream. It reads as such. Hey, 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 old bean. Bowles TV. We cannot either see or hear part of your stream, or maybe even both. Stop napping and please pay attention to this message and fix your stream. Hey, we thank you. Hey. Don't make us send this more than once because we will. We thank you even more. P.S. Don't make us come over there. Bye. So maybe that will work. And when I'm talking about things and you can't see them because only I can see them, wake up. So it's always interesting to see what's happening in the news. And I came upon this very interesting article that I'm going to share with you right now. If I can only find it, I'm clicking on everything and nothing's coming up. Send myself the command again. Wake up! Stop napping! Okay. So have you heard about this? Cats. There's a new analysis in the works exploring the relationship between domestic cats, hormone levels, gut microbiomes, and social behaviors. Shedding, wink wink, shedding light and dander, on how these solitary animals live in high densities. This comes out of Japan. Most feline species display solitary and territorial behavior. We know that. If you've ever been thrown off the bed by a cat, you know what I mean. And it usually happens at 3 a.m. Would you please move over? No, more off the bed. Not the cat, me. But domestic cats often live in high densities, raising the question of what strategies cats use to establish cohabitating groups. Social behaviors of cats can be influenced by hormones and the different mix of microbe species living in their guts, known as the gut microbiome. Studying these factors could help illuminate the group dynamics of cohabitating kitty cats. Video cameras were used to observe the cat's behavior, measured hormone levels in their urine, and collected feces to evaluate the mix of microbial species in the cat's microbiomes. Sharing their space, testosterone is down, cortisol is down. The lonely group of cats, oxytocin is up. I understand the lonely group. The rest of the group, meh. The lonely group, I feel you. Statistical analysis of the data revealed that cats with high levels of hormones, cortisol and testosterone, had less contact with other cats, and those with high testosterone were more likely to try to escape. Meanwhile, cats with low cortisol and testosterone were more tolerant in their interactions with other cats. Maybe people, but probably not. The researchers also found greater similarity of gut microbiomes between cats who had more frequent contact with each other. And they found links between the gut microbiome, social behavior, and cortisol levels. Well, that's interesting. So if you feed your cat the right stuff, you can calm your cat down. The authors also added, low testosterone and cortisol concentration in cats enabled them to share the space and live together. But the higher the oxytocin, the less affiliative behavior with others, and the more lonely they are. The function of oxytocin was different from that of affinity for a group mate. Cats may not consider other individuals living in the same space as tight relationship group mates. So there you have it. Your poor cat might be lonely and not really their fault. It's what's going on in their gut and what they eat. And if you're the one responsible for your kitty cat, you're the one responsible for how they're feeling. Speaking of health, have you heard this one? Google, Apple's contact tracing apps susceptible to digital attacks. Well, isn't that wonderful? Researchers from The Ohio State University said they found that these tracing apps are susceptible to geographically based replay attacks, which is when a third party captures a user's broadcasted contact tracing phone data from one area and exploits it by repeatedly transmitting it in another faraway location. So these contact apps are great. Have you been exposed? Do you have contacts nearby? We have one in our phone that reports COVID-19 exposures. It's great technology, but now people are messing with that too. For example, if someone in Columbus with COVID-19 were to have their contact tracing beacon data captured by a third party, their information could be transmitted to one, or multiple other cities thousands of miles away and rebroadcasted to others nearby. If this person were to be diagnosed positive for COVID-19, then someone who in reality hasn't had any contact with an infected person could be alerted that, hey, you have been in contact. Nasty, right? That means attackers could essentially create digital super spreaders that are fake, starting a process that shares clusters of false exposure beacons in different areas. Who knew? Who would want to mess with your contact app? I guess a foreign government, maybe, if they want to cause panic and havoc. The team did receive thanks from the Google for finding and fixing the weakness. To ensure that this information is available to the public, the team has put source code for the fix on GitHub. When future developers design similar protocols, we're going to make sure they have the opportunity to consider our recommendations. Both companies, Apple and the Google, made a product that can do a lot of good in the world. We just want to make sure that the functionality is harder to exploit. So we're not safe anywhere. Someone's always trying to get us. That doesn't mean that we're paranoid, but it does mean we're careful. Oh, we are paranoid. No, we're not. We're just being careful. And this is the world in which we find ourselves. Are we stuck, or are we just hanging around waiting for an opportunity? Well, I thank you for being here. We had a wonderful show today. I appreciate your feedback and involvement very much. We have new commands. We have Hey commands. We have Discord commands. We have new areas on Discord. We are now auto-hosting other Twitch streamers on our stream. So in our off hours, you won't see usually a blank thing saying we're offline, but you'll see other people on our stream because we are a channel and not just a singular TV station. Commissioner Gordon says from Winter Garden, Florida, thanks for having us. And in reply, we will say this. I want to do the Hey command, but that would be too funny. I'm not that funny. We say see you in a day or two, and I'll have more ideas for you. So if you have something to say, you can go to our Discord channel, which is right here. We have questions, comments in this live stream area. That's the best place to put your ideas because then it's preserved and I can find it again when I can't find it. Everybody is welcome. On Twitter, we are at David Bowles. There's super follows to follow. On Facebook, we are Bowles, B-O-L-E-S. That's our business page. Instagram, we're Bowles Books. TikTok, Bowles TV. And Discord, always open for business, 24/7. It's our own machine, as they say. We can't compete with the state machine, but we can compete with our own machine. So until tomorrow, I hope you have a wonderful nap, if you decide to take one, a great sleep, a welcome awakening, and when ye shall rise from slumber, may your soul be filled with joy, anticipation, and a good gut microbiome. I'll see you tomorrow.